Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman Podcast, where I sit down with fabulous people and have go-in conversations in order for you to discover right things to be consistent in order to achieve the wins you want for your life so that you can live out your greatest story. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I went deep into Oklahoma City and found somebody who I think is doing cool work as I watch him on Instagram. And one of the things that I'm definitely going to talk to him is about these black cowboys that I keep popping up, keep seeing on his Instagram, some of the most amazing photos. I got one particular photo that I'm going to ask him about. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eric Granado.
Thank you. I'm proud of you for saying my last name right, too.
Yeah.
So,
I worked on it like
a couple times.
not mess up a name.
Not everybody gets it right the first time. You got to practice.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, I put in the work.
Yeah,
I put in the work, and I think I pulled it off. Hopefully, I don't have to say it again.
Well, man, thank you for having me on, first of all.
Yeah.
Huge fan of yours. Just love your positivity, your energy. It's just, it's intoxicating.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
So,
and I appreciate the work that you do with the photography and what I'm able to see that you're doing. And I feel like you are creating some diversity amongst, being African American. And we oftentimes can grow up and not think about black cowboys or black rodeos.
Yeah.
Now I grew up in Guthrie, so we have Bowley, which is they do a rodeo specifically for black cowboys, and so I grew up around there. But oftentimes, it's not something that's talked about very much in our homes, in our culture, as far as like there being black cowboys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that about you and your willingness to go out there and capture those stories.
No, I appreciate that. It's something that I felt called to do in a way, is show more diversity in my work, because there are other cowboys besides white cowboys.
Yes.
Cowboy culture's very whitewashed throughout history. You can see it in movies, magazines, books, and so it's kind of the untold story that people don't see, and it's fascinating to me. Just the history of the American cowboy. Originally kind of got brought up from Mexico, from the vaqueros, but that's kind of where cowboy culture first started. But the origin of the black cowboys kind of originated back in the slave days. So you'd have your house boy, a field boy, but then you needed somebody to tend to the cows, and that was a cowboy. So that's kind of where the term originated from.
Really?
And so and when the plantation owners went and fought in the Civil War, they needed somebody to tend to the cows, and so that's kind of where the cowboy culture led to. So after the Civil War, a lot of people moved out west, to explore, the western United States, and so the West was extremely diverse: Native Americans, Asians, immigrants from Europe. It's extremely diverse period of time. Nobody really knows about that because you see a bunch of white people in there.
Yeah.
But it's Irish people. It was Italian people. It was just insane. But 1 in 4 cowboys, and in some parts 2 in 4 cowboys were black. And so it's something I've been doing a lot of research on and learning about and getting to experience it firsthand. It's exciting, and it's something I feel kind of called upon to share. So
how do you go about doing that research? Like, is this online? Are you picking up some books? Are you sitting down with other people? What has that been like for you?
It's mainly online. I find articles, or I find something online that I think is extremely interesting, and I go into a little rabbit hole and find out a bit more. The big one that kind of got me into learning about it more was a guy named Larry Callies in Houston. He is the owner of the Black Cowboy Museum, and it's starting to gain national attention. And Larry Callies was originally a country singer. He was going to go on tour, had an amazing voice, but then once he got invited to Nashville for a few recording sessions, he actually started to lose his voice, and he was trying to figure out what was wrong. And so I can't really remember his whole story and what it's called, but basically he kind of lost his sense of self. And so with him, growing up as a cowboy, he kind of got picked on a lot, especially, being a black man in Houston. It's kind of like not kind of the way a lot of people go. And so it's more unique. And so he really wanted to share the history of the cowboy, of the black cowboy, and just show like how diverse cowboy culture is. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's really interesting because I'm not a cowboy. I didn't grow up on a ranch. I didn't grow up on a farm. Barely know how to ride a horse, but it's something that's always interested me. And so I feel like with the way cowboy culture is, being so diverse, that opens up doors for people like me. Yeah. Because I didn't grow up with it, but yet here I am, and I'm doing stuff for cowboys, showing that side of, cowboy lifestyle. I'd say my work is kind of like an outsider looking in type of thing. They're one of my favorite painters. His name is Mark Majori. Honestly, I think he's going to go down as one of the best painters of all time. He's from France. Paints cowboys, lives in New Mexico, but he's known for his Western art. So someone from France to come out here and show that lifestyle, that once again just kind of shows how diverse, the West is. Mm-hmm. And so, and his work is kind of like an outsider looking in. So I kind of feel a connection to his work as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about just the cowboy lifestyle and how it's kind of helped me out, and learned a lot about it too.
So how long has this been? Like, how long have you been digging into this culture of cowboys?
A year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I hear you saying, hey, you've kind of always found that it was interesting. Like, you've kind of been on the outside looking in and kind of like, kind of admiration for them, whatever. Mm-hmm. What was it, and tell me the day a year ago or whatever that just kicked this in for you, and you've been going hardcore?
Well, I didn't start doing hardcore photography until, November of 2018, so almost 2 years ago. And I was trying to find my niche, and I just didn't know what I was going to do with my photography. It was just more of a hobby at that point. And one day I was just kind of looking online, and I found this fly fishing film festival. And it was in Oklahoma City in the stockyards, and I met a guy there, and he's like, hey, you need to come out to Guthrie. I got 2 cowboys you need to meet, awesome guys. It was Raymond and Bo. I met them, and since then it's like they were so open to helping me out and teaching me things. I think that's really kind of what kicked it off, because cowboys tend to be really reserved people. Mm-hmm. It's more just they don't want the publicity. They just want to do their job, because they do have a job. They're tending cattle, they're tending to their crops, whatever it is. And so, but for them to be so willing to help me out, it's been a blessing. And since then, it's just kind of stuck with me. And it's been an obsession, and I can't get away from it.
Stepping away from cowboys for a second, what makes a great photo for you? Like, what is it that you say, man, this photo is ridiculous?
I didn't know that answer until a couple weeks ago.
Really?
I didn't really have a sense of like what kind of artist I am, but I've always been very big on learning as much about yourself as you possibly can, and in that way, finding out about yourself from other people. I did this practice, and I asked 10 of my closest friends what they think about me. List qualities, tendencies of me that just from knowing me. And I learned things about myself that I didn't even write down. And so I've had a couple people reach out the past couple weeks and say, your photos are very genuine in the moment. I never looked at it that way. But hearing people say that, I do understand it now, because it does put you in the moment. I'm not really big into photography, I love the term capturing moments, and that's exactly kind of where my work is, because I want people to feel something. I've never been big on captions and telling stories and writing big stuff out. Nobody's going to read that. They're going to look at a picture and they're going to be, wow, that's awesome. They're not going to read the thing that's attached to it, and so that's kind of how I use my work. It's just share this photo, share this piece of art, because a picture tells 1,000 words, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Something
No,
like
that's
that?
it. Yeah, 1,000 words. Yeah.
And so, that's just kind of how I would describe my style. It's just in the moment, and I want people to feel something from it. So, and I think it comes off as genuine, and I think that shows in my work too.
Have you found that, so equipment wise, how have you went about learning the different types of cameras, how to utilize them? And then I want to come back to you asking your friend these questions about you. But first, tell me how you're, in the same way you said, hey, list these things about me, right? You went to your friend and said, list these things about me. There's things about a camera to kind of become familiar with it to help you capture these moments. What are you doing to kind of move along that process?
Funny story. I wasn't really into photography. I took photography 2 in college and I failed. The class wasn't for me. I was never really good in school and didn't take it seriously. But when I moved out to Portland, I fell back in love with photography. I bought a cheap camera off my friend. Didn't really know what I was doing, and sold it probably a year later. When I came back, I just started thinking what if I picked up a camera again? And I've just been self-taught ever since. I'm editing. I'm kind of investing in myself. I take workshops from different photographers, learning learning the business of photography, learning, how to contact clients, learning how to capture a certain mood in a photo. So a lot of the things I know now is just all self-taught. I didn't read books. I didn't look online. I'd go out and shoot. And honestly, the more you shoot, the better you're going to get, because it's just practice. I've always been a big believer in doing passion projects all the time, because it's just practice at the end of the day. You don't have to get paid for a shoot. And I think I've commented that on your post too. But you don't have to get paid for taking photos. Go out and do something you really enjoy, whether that's capturing lifestyle or cars. Go out and take photos, and at the end of the day, that's just you practicing, and so that's just kind of, I'm all self-taught, and kind of an underdog in a way. So didn't know a whole lot, and here I am. So
that's good. So going back to you saying, hey, I asked these people about who I am. I just recently, an hour ago, not if that, I'm doing this, there's something new. I was invited to do the keynote for this district for FCCLA, Future Careers and Community Leaders of America. And one of the things I suggested was that you connect with other people and ask them to kind of help learn who you are. Was that somebody suggested to you? How did you come about being in the place to where he's like, you know what, I'm going to ask other people?
I actually was in one of the workshops. And the reason I did it is from a pretty famous adventure photographer. He's out of Montana, and I was taking one of his workshops, and within it, he was talking about things outside of photography. One is learning about yourself, so that way you can understand your work more and know what what you're interested in. For me, so the practice was, write 10 to 15 things down about you, what you love, everything. And so, but one of those practices was ask 10 of your closest friends about what they think about you. And in there, I found out that a lot of my friends saw that I value relationships. I didn't even put that in there in my assessment of myself. And so that helped me understand the best way to learn about yourself is from other people. Because we're our own biggest critics at the end of the day. But other people see more in you than you see in yourself most of the time. And so that really opened my eyes. And ever since then, it's really helped me understand what I value in my life. And also I value in a career and a family, in anything. So, and just in all aspects. And that's just And now, since I've done that little 10-minute exercise, I've grown so much because I finally understand what other people see in me, and now I can start to apply that to my self-assessment. You know, so that's just kind of where that led to. Yeah.
When you're thinking about value in relationships and thinking about the photos that you take with people, I think you're probably a little bit more patient with the shots. Meaning, like, you really want to capture that part. Like, you value the person on the other side of that lens.
I do, yeah.
When I think about people who value relationships, and I think your photos say that.
I do. I have this, like, innate feeling in myself that's like every person I meet is going to be my best friend. I don't know why. It's like if I meet this person, it's for a reason, and I want to be their friend for the rest of my life, you know. I understand there's like seasons and everything for people, but it's like every person I meet, I want to be their best friend and hang out with them and talk to them all the time. I'm extremely into connecting with people. And I don't know, like I said, I think that kind of shows through my work, and I think every person has a story to tell.
Yeah.
Every person has a different background to where they're at now, and I think that, everybody needs to recognize that, and not everybody does.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's something I take to heart.
Are you familiar with Showhouse?
I'm not.
So no. Showhouse, Kara and her husband, they're photographers. And one of the things that they do is they traveled before COVID. I don't know if they're still doing it. I haven't seen very many photos from them. But they go to people's houses, and they would do, like, I don't know what you would call them, live photo. Like, just as they're going about their everyday lives, they're just taking pictures of these people. And so they were traveling all over the place. People bring them in from all the places, just go and capture their lives as they're living every day. And I'm just thinking, like, I think you'd probably be great at that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you probably would be great at that because of your willingness and your valuing of other people and wanting the moments, like capturing moments. Like, those are some of the most amazing moments of people at their houses.
Yeah.
And just being themselves every day.
Exactly.
And so, anyway, that just came to my mind. So tell me about this photo.
Is this the photo you were looking at?
Yeah.
Man, so I went to the Okmulgee Rodeo back in August, I believe. Maybe it was the end of July. And Okmulgee Rodeo, I think, is the largest black rodeo in the country.
Okay.
It's been going on for 65 years. And obviously, with doing my own research, it was something I really wanted to do. And just being completely honest, I was a little uncomfortable because, white guy at a black rodeo, I kind of felt like I was almost like doing something that a black photographer could do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt like I'm the only person in the state doing what I'm doing. I feel like it's I wouldn't say my duty, but I feel like I can share these people's stories.
Yeah.
And so
was there black photographers there?
Yeah. Okay.
I
was the only white photographer there.
Okay.
So
were you the only white? You were the only white person there.
There were maybe a couple other people there.
Did you notice it? Did you look for them?
Yeah. I didn't seek them out. Come on, But
let me tell you something. Like, black people. Well, I'm often the only black person in a lot of my settings that I'm in.
Yeah.
But it's typical for black folk. When we walk in a room, we look for other black folks.
See, I guess white people, we just don't do that.
Because you're rarely in that moment.
For me, honestly, I didn't even really pay attention.
Yeah.
I saw a couple in passing moments, but
that's interesting.
It was I was more so focused on wanting to do what I was there for.
Yeah.
No,
I get it.
And so, that's just kind of where. Anyways,
I would have been looking for some other black people. I ain't gonna lie. I'm always in a setting where I'm the only black. I still look for other black folks. I'm like, I'm just gonna look just in case, maybe.
Yeah, maybe there's somebody that stands there. It's like what's up?
Yeah, you got you. You give eye contact, like, I got you. Some go down. I got you. See, you just not in that setting. You're not in that setting enough. And the more black rodeos, you can start looking for other white people. Like, man, let me see if there's another. Yeah, no good. But tell me about the photo.
The photo, I went to a small get together, and it was supposed to start at 7. Started at like 10 o'clock. I was pissed. I was like, come on. I was getting tired. I was even texting her. I was like, it's 10 o'clock and this thing hasn't started yet. Like, what's going on? And And anyways, but I noticed the lighting was like perfect. They had like 2 or 3 spotlights, and it looked badass. I'm sorry, can I say that on here? I don't.
Well,
I
you've
don't
already said it.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways, so
you may be the first person.
What the event is called? It's called the Pony Express. And I was talking to a cowboy there, and we are just getting to talking and stuff. And he's like, if the Pony Express event didn't exist, nobody would be here.
Yeah, for sure.
This is why they're here. And he was like, these kids from the inner city, they're thugs, they're kids that get in trouble, but they come here to be around each other.
Yeah.
This is kind of their way out of that
environment.
Yeah. And so being around the horses, they say, he said it's really hard on the horses, it's really hard on the people, but that event alone is the reason a lot of these black rodeos exist. If it wasn't for Pony Express, these
nobody would go.
No, there'd be like 5 people there.
Yeah.
And so I've been to a couple, just regular white people rodeos, and the first time I saw that was in Okmulgee. I mean, it was like a state track meet.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to like the Texas Relays or a state, state championship 4x4 relay, that stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
And so seeing that was mind-blowing. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it's rap is bumping, people are up in the stands, they're standing up, everybody's yelling. It was the most insane event. But at that one in particular, I was just on the side, and it's just that's kind of how I don't really know how to describe that one, but it's almost just like you're standing at a fence you're standing on the fence line, and you're just watching 2 riders go by.
Yeah.
And I just love that photo because it was almost like it's putting you in that moment. It's putting you in that position where, hey, I'm watching these guys race. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's beautiful.
It's photo.
It's beautiful.
Describe this photo and tell me about it.
So that one's Jake. Jake.
Yes.
So, and, he's just the sweetest guy. And he's also the dumbest guy too. But this was during a shoot with Wrangler. I shared his story with Wrangler. I was fascinated by his story because the kid is extremely talented. He's a complete athlete.
Yeah.
Major offers from, baseball schools, and he doesn't want to do it because he wants to train horses. I'm just like, that's insane to me, and mainly because as a black kid, you don't hear that a whole lot, and so I felt compelled to share that story, because once again, it's like, who's going to, and so he's showed me a lot, he's taught me a lot, and just that honestly was just in the moment. He was this was after we shot our first product. He had a black shirt on, and he was just breaking broncs and stuff, and afterwards he was getting a little hot, took his shirt off because we were in between shirt changes, and he just got the hose and started drinking. I was like, dude, that's perfect, and I just caught him drinking out of the water. And it was perfect. It's just that's the stuff. That's the stuff I pay attention to. That's the stuff I look for. So
and you don't see a lot of people drinking out of the hose these days.
No.
We used to do it all the time as kids. And if I told my kids to go drink out of the hose, they'd probably be like, "What? Like,
it's like what?
Yeah, I'm not drinking out of the hose.
Dad, it doesn't have electrolytes. It's not organic. It's not filtered. It's not from Fiji. Like, why would I drink out of the hose? Is it filtered?
Our refrigerator. We have one of those refrigerators you can do the water and the ice or whatever. And the water thing's broke, so I have not even been drinking water because the water is so good. Not that we don't have a faucet right there that I can. Was like, no, this is filtered, it's delicious. So I'm like, explain that photo. Tell the people about this photo and what's going on there. Yeah, I guess you should hold it up.
So I was out with my buddy Michael Weideman, fantastic photographer too, and I was. That's just Take a look at that there.
Are we on that camera right
there? Yeah, here, hold on. There we go.
Yeah.
Just right here.
Yeah.
But that photo in particular, it's me being me. I like to goof off on sets. I like to goof off when I'm shooting with other people, and mainly because if a lot of people I shoot with, they're not models. They're not, they're not used to it. So me being able to be myself and getting them, just kind of to loosen up, kind of helps out the shoot the rest of the way, because they start to be more comfortable in the situation.
Yeah.
And so that honestly, that's me just goofing off with my buddy. So
that's good.
And then,
what's up with it? Tell me that.
I love that one. That's probably
goodness.
that's probably one of my favorites. So
that is an amazing photo.
Yeah, that is once again, that's of Jake.
Is that Jake again?
Yeah, that's Jake again. Yeah. I'm saying he's just, he's got a thing for the camera. So, and
but that lighting though,
it was perfect. I really just went out and I was like, hey, I really want to. So that Western painter, Mark Majori, he's a big inspiration of mine, and a lot of his photos are just very calming. It's not cowboys like running real fast. They're not shooting anything. It's just them kind of out in the field and trotting along. And so I wanted to do a shoot like that, and I saw the lighting, and I saw Jake going off, and I didn't even tell him to do anything. He just started, walking off with his horse, and once again, in the moment, it was just, it's perfect. So, like I said, that's just the kind of stuff I love to capture. It's it's genuine. It puts you in that photo, and it just makes you feel something.
For sure.
So that's just kind of how I take all my stuff.
You talked about the Pony Express and them listening to hip hop music while they're doing this
awesome.
Thing where it's not cowboy music, it's hip hop music doing a very cowboy. Well, it's not quite a cowboy moment because they've kind of changed it up. Pony Express is really dangerous too.
It really is.
It is crazy.
Some of the time I thought these horses were gonna crash into each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't it the most amazing? So. They listen to hip hop. What do you listen to when you're editing? The post work of photography, downloading photos. What are you listening to?
My workflow, I love listening to like Mississippi blues, like Delta blues.
Yeah,
so a lot of Muddy Waters. Lightning Hopkins gets me in the mood of editing. I don't know if you're familiar with Lightning Hopkins. He his music is just so like gritty, and it's, to me, blues is. I didn't start listening to blues until a couple years ago. But man, shit, dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with movies. Like I love like I like my happy movies here and there, but like the movies with like a bad ending, it just makes you feel kind of like, oh man, it sucks. But it's a real feeling. It makes you feel something.
Tell me a bad movie.
No Country for Old Men. That's my favorite movie of all time. I can quote that all day, every day. But I don't know if you know the premise.
No.
There's three characters. It's a bad ending, and you don't even see it. It just happens. It's off camera, and it's like it hits hard, and you're just like, dude, what? But to me, I feel like just the tougher movies, I think, have a more genuine feeling to them. And I think that's what I find beautiful in them. The happy movies are great. It's a good movie. Let's go get ice cream. And there, you in those movies, you think about them a lot more than you do, Marley and Me, or Marley and Me's sad. Sorry, I'm not that. That is a depressing movie. But it's just the happier movies. It's just okay. You can go on about your life, but you think about those harder movies. It's like, why did they do it that way? Why you think about them a lot more. They're more thought provoking in my opinion.
For sure.
So Sicario is another one. I don't know if you've seen Sicario.
Yeah.
That one's tough.
Yeah. Did you like one better than two, or which one?
100%. So the series is meant to be a trilogy, from what I read, but I just think the second one was a little bit more.
So there's gonna be a third one.
Yeah, but it's too dramatic for me. It didn't seem. It seemed more staged than
the second one.
Yeah. The first one definitely seemed more just like real.
Yeah.
But the second one just seemed like it's too much.
For sure.
Helicopters and all that. Missiles and stuff. It's like, no, that's this.
Now, photographers oftentimes talk about cell phones now, like how smartphones have changed photography. Where are you at on that?
I love it and hate it. I've deleted all my social media except Instagram, because honestly, if Instagram, if I didn't have to expand my business with Instagram, I'd probably have it off my phone. Social media is great because I've connected with so many people. And, you know, I could go out to Arizona tomorrow. I could stay with somebody and go shoot with them, go horseback riding. I could go up to Alberta, Canada, out to Montana, to California. You know, it's like, hey, I'm coming out here. Let's do some stuff, you know, and I get to have these experiences with these people when I go out there. But at the same time, it's just, I've seen how toxic it can be. And so if I had a choice, I would have no social media on my phone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with just the work that I do, it's kind of important to have Instagram, unfortunately. Yeah. But I've also seen the good side of it.
Around the idea of photography, though, like oftentimes photographers are mad because, I mean, this is everybody's cameras now. So everybody's become a photographer. Mm-hmm. Like, I know you haven't been in the game real strong, but have you seen that, or how do you?
I have seen people. You know, they just. I've seen people that try to edit photos and their skin's orange and it's like teal and green, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's all these like influencers and stuff. It's stupid. And I just, it's so bad. And even, you know, and honestly, it's hard to teach somebody how to use a camera.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the times they don't see kind of what I'm seeing. Or, you know, if you're not experienced in it, you just don't really know the ropes and how to do things. Like, I had a shoot with her. We went out to Jake's place. I shot for a company called Outback Outfitters. And a lot of the clothes they sent me were men's clothes, and I didn't have a second photographer on hand. So she's done a little bit of photography, more for like yearbook in high school and stuff, and she did great. But you know, if I try to get my brother to do it or somebody else, it's like, oh my God, just like, let me get a tripod and I'll do it myself. You know, it's just it's hard to teach people how to look at things. Yeah, you know, like it's honestly it's almost impossible sometimes. You know, people don't have that skill. Yeah. So, and honestly, I think that is a skill. So I stopped following people, and I started following more creators and brands to see what they're doing and what kind of stuff they're using. And so that way I have an understanding of what to look for when I take a photo.
Who are some of your favorites? Oh, brand wise.
One of my favorite that I've most recently followed, her name's Claudia Elise, I think. She used to work at, it's this kind of like guest ranch out in Colorado, and called Ranch Lands, and they're huge in land conservation. They do a lot of intern work, but a lot of the photographers I follow now, they all worked there, but her stuff is just amazing. There's another guy called Southwest, so it's like Southwest without the T. I mean, yeah. That photo there is just amazing. Yeah, there's one photo in particular of hers that just blows me away. It's let me see. I wouldn't even say it's one photo. It's, you know, these sunrise, sunset shots. I mean, this one in particular is just insane. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and that is just amazing. And it's just a lot of her stuff. But
did you get it?
A lot of the people that have done stuff at Ranchlands, they're all extremely talented, and they're amazing. Another guy is Southwest. His ability to manipulate colors but still feel real and not too fake, it's amazing. Yeah. I'd say those two are probably like my top like female and male people that I follow. Yeah. And so it's just those two people are just like extremely inspiring. So sure. I always try to, you know, get to know people that are better than me, because I want to see what they're doing that I'm not, and so it kind of gives me an idea of what to work on.
It's good. Good. What was Eric like so what would your family say you were like as a kid?
I've never been asked that question before. That's interesting. Very, I guess, I was really into sports. Sports was extremely big to me growing up. I didn't play football until like 8th grade though. I was really into basketball, baseball. As a kid, Honestly, my parents say I was a great kid.
Really?
Yeah.
My parents say I was a great kid too.
No, I mean, the only thing is I was a great negotiator. I wouldn't get a haircut without getting a toy. So it's like,
wow.
It's like I'm not getting one unless I get a toy after
That's
this,
such a great kid.
That's what I'm saying. But I was very I was very nice, polite as a kid. They did a fantastic job raising me.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to mom and dad.
Was there a moment in high school that you can remember that kind of changed, maybe gave you momentum or helped you change the way you thought about something?
No, honestly, I'd probably say I feel like this is the first year I've completely and finally understood myself and learned about myself a lot more.
This past year?
Yeah, just within the last 12 months. And since then, I lived in Portland, Oregon for a couple of years, and that was kind of a hard time. I still love it out there. I have a lot of friends out there. But that really showed me a lot of what I didn't know about myself. And so when I moved back home, I was kind of lost and didn't know like who I was, what I was supposed to do. And so within this past 12 months, I've just seen so much momentum, and I've learned a lot about myself. Mm-hmm. And so I think learning about myself was the most important thing about my growth, because I feel like a lot of people, we want to help as many people as we can, but you can't help other people until you help yourself.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I didn't really learn a lot until, just a couple months ago.
Yeah. What do you wish you would have known?
I'd say that's hard. I'd say to manage my emotions. I used to be I'm a very expressive person, but I used to be very reactive in situations. I'd say yes in a moment. I'd get upset and burn a bridge or something like that. But within the past year, I really learned to. I've learned a lot about emotional intelligence. Mm. And I think that's something that everybody should try to learn at some point. I'm very logical thinking now, not so reactive driven and stuff like that. And so I'd say that's probably the biggest thing I've learned about myself and that I pride myself on, is just being able to, if something upsets me at work or with photography or within my personal life, it's take a step back, let it simmer for a couple of days. If it's still bothering me, it's something worth, bringing back up. But if it fades away, it wasn't even worth, talking about. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I managed a lot of my stuff now too. Yeah. So, whether it's companies reaching out, I always kind of like give me a couple of days to, a day or two to kind of sit on it. I don't want to say yes now. It seems really cool to get a cool opportunity, but let me kind of, sit on it for a bit. So, but I think the biggest thing I've learned about myself is just emotional intelligence. And I think that's kind of a testament to who I am now. Yeah. So
do you have a full-time job, or do you do photography full-time?
Yeah, I have a full-time job, but honestly, photography is starting to become a second job. Yeah. And so it hasn't been as flourishing as I want it to. Yeah. But, I'm still, pushing and working to get into full-time photography career. So it'll happen, but staying patient. That may be a staying patient, but what would you tell someone out there right now who's working a full-time job, but they have this side hustle that they see as being something that they want to do full-time? Man, this is so cliche and everybody says it, but follow your passion. I mean, I didn't know this was my passion, doing cowboy photography and documentary stuff, until I started doing it, because I had to really look into myself. I grew up and I loved the Old West. I loved cowboys and horses and just that whole lifestyle. But it was up until like a little over a year ago where I was like, what if I did both of them? Yeah. And since then, it's just like it's taken me by storm. And once again, it's learning about yourself. Yeah. It's knowing who you are, knowing how other people perceive you, and running with that. Yeah. Like I said, we're our own biggest critics. We don't look at ourselves in a positive light most of the time. We're always looking at ourselves. What can I do better? Why am I not this way? Other people think of you as, like, for instance, I think of you as extremely energetic, positive, genuine, and maybe you might not see stuff like that. I see the best in people.
Yeah.
And so it's just learning about yourself and running with that and knowing exactly what you love. If you love baking, do something with baking, do something for baking companies, say, hey, I want to help you kind of promote your business. Let me help you, and then that'll kind of turn into something else. I wanted to do cowboy photography, but now I'm doing, not corporation, I'd say a little more like a, what's the word? Like company? No, it's not company. I can't think of it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my words together.
Oh, you're fine.
No, it's more. I'd say like along the lines of like product, commercial photography.
Okay.
Yeah. But for
so you're shooting product for brands.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love that. But that's what I'm also interested in.
Yeah.
I love clothes. I love photography, and so once again, mixing that Western stuff and mixing all the things I enjoy. It's just it's helped me express myself, and it's honestly, since I've started following my passion, my work's grown tremendously. So I'd say it's probably the one thing I could probably say to anybody that's wanting to find out what they're about.
Any tips on working with the brands?
Be genuine. A lot of brands can tell if you're not really a fan, especially if you don't shop with them. I know a lot of these brands because I've known them in the past, but I do buy their clothes too.
Yeah.
And so that's probably my biggest takeaway from that. I like reaching out to a lot of smaller brands. Like Levi's would be extremely hard. They're a worldwide, brand. But working for a company like Wrangler, who's more based in the USA, not worldwide, that's a lot easier to get in contact with. So
do you reach out to the brand?
Yeah,
I
honestly,
know there's probably a combination of some reaching out and you reaching out to some. Like, what does that look like to reach out to a brand?
It's intimidating because you don't want to look stupid. But most of the time, honestly, I just send them a message on Instagram and say, hey, and once again, this is kind of how good social media can be.
Yeah.
I reach out to them, hey, this is what I do. I'd love to shoot for you guys. Let me know what you think. And then, if they're like, hey, yeah, we'd love your work, they follow me, like a couple things, I'll send them an email, send them a little, pitch deck showing like this is the work I can do and this is the work I have done for other companies. What do you think about it? And a lot of the time it's sharing stories too. I'm not just a photographer. I love sharing stories. And once again, Black Cowboys sharing Jake's story, sharing Bo and Raymond's story. That's what I love. Everybody has a story. It's just whether it's out there or not. But
that's cool, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. So,
really cool. You're young, so you still got plenty of time.
I'm like 27. I'm not that young. I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're
young.
27. Oh my goodness.
I'm coming up on 30.
I'll trade you.
So okay.
I'll trade you. No, that's good. Yeah, 27. Yeah, you got plenty of time.
I do.
The great thing though is that you're discovering these things now versus at 47 or 50 or 60. Even though I think even at 47, 50, 60, still go for it. That's the way that I roll. But yeah, 27. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool being. I'm starting to realize like I'm still young and I have so much time. I mean, it's.
Be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient.
A lot of people get their start at other times. So why not my time now?
You're learning a ton, like reaching out to brands and understanding how to utilize social media in the way that you're talking about. Like a lot of people don't get that. And so it's cool to hear you tell that and be able to share.
I appreciate that.
So other people can listen in on that. Because at the end of the day, that's pretty simple. I mean, I think understanding the right stories that connect, like Jake's story, connecting it to the baseball, who he is, him being an African-American kid, minority in an industry that typically is not, like you saw that and shared that. A lot of people who haven't, that's probably the hardest part. Like knowing the right story that's going to connect with people and to share your brand around that. That was awesome.
And once again, I follow all these companies because I see what they post, and that way it gives me an idea of what to look for when I shoot. Because I mean, there's a couple people that I follow that have brands, but I look at their work and it's like, this is awful. Honestly. And so for me, commercial photography is extremely different than any other thing, because you're shooting for a brand that's going to go on a website, that's going to go on a national campaign. So they need to have the work available to them to put that out there, you know. And a lot of people just can't grasp that concept of what that looks like. So
no, I think that's good. You know, another thing I'm going back to yours doesn't feel over edited.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it too.
Yeah,
and I try to edit in a way that it's still edited, but you know, that's not the first thing you look at. Once again, I see all these influencers, and it's like, oh, your skin's orange. Like, why is it? You know, it could, but you know, the first thing you shouldn't see is the editing. Yeah, you know, it should be what's the photo about. You know, so, but I do like my black and whites too. So my black and whites are honestly some of my favorite.
Yeah, this one here is. That's legit.
Yeah, I love that one. I was out in Arizona.
I was about to say that's.
Yeah, that's out in Arizona. I was just on a little hike with my friend, and you know, I took the picture, and it was just, you know, it's super simple. So nothing too crazy. It's just a, you know, cactus and a little shrub, but you know, it has
about a story
the scenery.
There.
Yeah,
it tells a lot though. That's cool.
No, I appreciate that.
Man, well, Eric, thank you for coming and hanging out with me.
Well, dude, no, thank you for hanging out with me. Or wanting to hang out with me.
Yeah. keep doing the work, you know, and keep being nice to people. I really appreciate that you recognize the power in that and how it impacts others. So, thank you in that. How can people find you?
Honestly, once again, Instagram. It's really the only thing I have. It's Eric Granado. Granado. So, but yeah, that's really how people can find me. Awesome. So I try to stay out of the spotlight a lot. So good. But no, once again, thank you for having me on. You know, I love the go win mantra. You know, it's perfect. It's simple. It gets everything done in such a short time. So,
for sure.
But
thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman Podcast. Go follow Eric. Go watch the work that he's doing. It's super inspiring. And just cheer him on whenever you hit that like on certain pictures and leave some comments with some of the great photos that he is putting out there in the world of Instagram. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go win.